Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the online VGC 17 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. As I mentioned, I am still using the Nihilego Snorlax team that we featured for quite a couple of episodes now, and I'm going to stick with it just for a little bit longer. Like I mentioned, I do want to get a new team in, and you guys have given me some pretty cool suggestions. If there's anything you haven't suggested yet that you might want to see, definitely let me know in the comments below. But yeah, it's definitely been a pretty cool run with this team, and I'm glad I got to try out Snorlax and Nihilego. There were definitely a lot of episodes where they were able to put in a lot of work, and definitely some interesting Pokemon. This metagame feels really open, and there's so many Pokemon that I still haven't tried out yet that I'm excited to. So yeah, more cool stuff coming on Road to Rank soon, but we're going to find Antonio to kick off our first game of today's episode with a really interesting team, actually. As always, if you guys enjoy Road to Rank, please show your support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. Antonio's team here is Smeargle, Machamp, Celesteela, Nihilego, Garchomp, and Tapu Lele. So I think the two things that definitely stick out the most to me are the Smeargle and the Machamp. And my opponent's team looks rather offensive, and with a team comp like that, I really have to ask, where is a potential Choice Scarf? Is there a Choice Band anywhere? Is a Life Orb anywhere? A Focus Sash anywhere? Machamp is a Pokemon that definitely could be carrying Choice Scarf. Smeargle, doesn't get access to Dark Void anymore, so not as scary, but definitely still a pretty big threat. So, figuring out who to lead with here is really tricky. I'm kind of worried about the Machamp, to be quite honest with you. And I might go Gyarados Koko. I don't really want to bring Snorlax here, because it just kind of gets pooped on by a lot of things, especially that Machamp, though. So if I go Gyarados Chomp's not bad. Tapu Lele is one of my main concerns, though. Maybe I'll go with my Nihilego for the Tapu Lele. Yeah, Nihilego Koko seems decent here. Scarf Chomp's still solid. It can just outspeed, and every time I bring Scarf Chomp, I feel pretty inclined to bring Gyarados. Arcanine's not bad here, but I think I like these two a little bit more. Yeah. And if my opponent brings Celesteela, that actually works a little bit more in my favor, because I can switch in with my Gyarados. So we're going to get into the first game of today's episode. Let's see what Antonio is packing, whether we do see Machamp and Smeargle, both eccentric picks, but Pokemon that have had a lot of success in past VGC years. Machamp always being one of those sleeper Pokemon, and then winning the World Championships in Seniors in 2013 and 2015, I believe, with Hayden McTavish and Mark McCullen's team. We do see the Smeargle here, but the Nihilego comes out instead. It's not too great for me. Especially because I don't know the Smeargle set. If it has Wide Guard, that's also another concern. So I've got Garchomp at the back, which is always great, because I can just Earthquake. I think I might play it safe this first turn and Protect, and switch Koko out into Chomp. Then again, I suppose he can't do very much to me. So I might as well just Sludge Bomb here. Actually don't know the base power of Power Gem. Okay, yeah. Sludge Bomb does a bit more, that's what I thought. So I think I'm going to Sludge Bomb Smeargle and pull the switch out into Chomp. My opponent could HP Ice the Koko switch in, or switch out though, so this could be bad. But that's a pretty aggressive prediction. Smeargle could go for a Fake Out, but I don't have Sash. But Nihilego actually switches out, that's really shocking. Into Garchomp, wow, okay. I'll take that first turn any day. Let's see if Smeargle did go for the Fake Out. He did Fake Out into Garchomp, wow. So, not the play I was anticipating at all, but that works out perfectly as Smeargle breaks its potential Sash, and Sludge Bomb might just pick up the knockout here. Let's see. Yeah, it does. Wow. So, that first turn, not how I expected to play out at all, but that was as perfect as it can get. Like, that was even way better than I anticipated. I suppose maybe my opponent... Like, it's interesting switching out to Nihilego when you're against a Nihilego. I guess, like, Nihilego doesn't do very much against opposing Nihilegos, but you do threaten Koko a lot. Celesteela comes in here, and I've got to think that Garchomp is going to be Choice Scarfed. So I can confirm that by protecting here. I think I really want to just switch out into Gyarados, though. Yeah, let's switch out into Gyarados, and just go for a Dragon Claw onto Garchomp. Even if he's not Scarf, like, that's even better. And I've still got Koko to deal with Celesteela, which is great. So, this is, like, why I was hoping to see Celesteela, because Celesteela can't do too much against Gyarados, so this is basically the perfect position for Gyarados to come in. That's why I wanted to bring it over Arcanine. So I get the Intimidate off here. My Dragon Claw goes off first. I still don't know whether he's Scarfed or not, but he did not Protect, and that might be a critical hit. Wow, not even. I guess because I'm Admin Nature, that might be like a roll, or I might just have a chance to knock him out outright. Celesteela goes for a Leech Seed, which is perfectly fine by me too. So this game has played out exactly how I've wanted it to, pretty much. Celesteela, sure, it's got the Leech Seed off, but that's not going to do very much. And given that Garchomp didn't protect and didn't have a... I mean, it could have been Ground DMZ, I suppose, but... Yeah, I didn't necessarily need that knockout. In fact, it actually would have been slightly better if I didn't pick up that knockout, because then I can just Dragon Claw and Dragon Dance the next turn. But that's fine. Nihilego comes in, and yeah. So with that, I'm going to just Celesteela's intimidated. I really want to just Dragon Dance and Dragon Claw here, because if Nihilego attacks Gyarados, like basically I'll get a free switch it into Tapu Koko. Because he might protect Nihilego right now, and if he doesn't, which he probably won't, Heavy Slam doesn't knock out Garchomp anyway. Maybe I should protect still, though. Yeah, I think it's still better to protect, so then I get the free switch into Koko. I'll play it safe. I could switch out and back in for Earthquake, but I don't know whether... If you Sash, like, it doesn't make a difference, because it's a 2-hit knockout anyway, so no Protect coming out, which is good. Could be HP icing my Garchomp slot. But nope, it's Power Gem. Perfect. And probably a Leech Seed or a Heavy Slam. And yeah, Leech Seeding. Maybe into the Garchomp slot, expecting a switch out. Maybe my opponent hasn't realized I'm Scarf yet, but I am Admin Nature instead of Jolly, and I'm max attack, so sometimes I can catch opponents off guard. So yeah, now I can just Dragon Dance and Dragon Claw Nihilego, and pretty much that's going to be game. Yeah, Smeargle really didn't do anything in this game other than Fake Out. Nihilego protects. Don't know whether that Smeargle did have the Life Orb, or sorry, the Focus Sash or not, because both Smeargle and Nihilego are Pokemon that want to carry that item. And Gyarados here, we'll get to +1, so now I outspeed everything, and Water Z move should promptly take care of Celesteela. But yeah, Machamp was something I was really worried about, but I don't know any of my opponent's items were set, so it's hard to say whether, you know, what was the right Pokemon to bring in or not. As Chomp is able to hang on from that Heavy Slam. Celesteela will take some damage from Rough Skin, but of course Leech Seed will heal all that back up. It is the sub-lefties, or not sub, but the Leech Seed lefties Celesteela set. And, you know, this team does have multiple answers against Celesteela. Like, Gyarados itself is actually pretty decent, because you can just Dragon Dance in front of it and can't really touch you, because Heavy Slam is your main means of offense. Tapu Koko can one-shot it. One of the reasons why I do like Tapu Koko a lot is because of its ability to just nuke the Celesteela. And finally, there's Arcanine in the back as well. So I've got 3 Pokemon that can really effectively deal with Celesteela. And Celesteela is still a really good Pokemon. We obviously saw a ton of it in the London International Championships. I think now people are starting to figure out ways around it, and it's not, you know, incredibly overpowered or broken, but it is still really good because it creates a ton of win conditions, and if you can eliminate the biggest threats to Celesteela, like a lot of times teams aren't well equipped to deal with it, then, you know, you can still really pull big wins with Celesteela, 2v1, even 3v1, so it's one of those Pokemon where you really have to be careful for, and that's why, like, anytime I see it in team preview, I'm like, okay, I probably need to bring at least 2 answers to it, so I have multiple ways to just effectively one-shot it. And that's why playing against Celesteela is a lot easier with this team. Nihilego's going to go for the double protect, not going to get it. Celesteela's going to protect as well. Not really sure what doing that accomplishes, honestly. My opponent kind of just trying to stall out the game a little bit longer. Maybe trying to scout out for my sets or whatnot. Or wasting a Z move, I guess, on Celesteela. But even if the Z move were wasted, I could just Dragon Claw safely again next turn. So Scarf Chomp, once again, proving the MVP here. I think it's such a weird set to be using, but in best of 1, especially on Battle Spot, it definitely works. I'm not sure if Scarf Chomp's something I'd really want to bring to in real life tournaments. It's definitely viable, and we've seen a couple of good players use it. I think Alberto Lara, who, or Lara Top Cut, multiple regional championships had that, which was pretty cool to see, Scarf Chomp. So, definitely viable. I personally like the Ground DMZ set a little bit more. Of course, I had that on my previous team. Celesteela actually took that Z move really well. It's going to heal a little bit more from the Leech Seed, but yeah, I mean, it's 4v1 right now, and Celesteela, you know, it could pull huge comebacks, but not against a Dragon Dance Gyarados and with Koko in the back. I'm just going to sack Gyarados this turn so I get the free switch and back into Koko. Don't want to switch it in really onto a critical hit or whatnot. Not that it really matters. I don't think my opponent has any shot of winning this game at 4v1. But, you see, you'd imagine here, like, for example, if I guess Gyarados could Dragon Dance up in front of it anyway, so, yeah, I have multiple outs in this game. But, for example, if I didn't have Gyarados and I only had Koko, and Koko actually did feint to a critical hit on a Heavy Slam, like, that could be bad, but my opponent ends up just going for a Leech Seed anyway. But a lot of the times in VGC, you just want to make sure you don't choke the battle when you've got it 100% locked up. For example, in this position, it's pretty much 100% locked up. I don't think there's any conceivable way I could choke the battle away, but there are times where opponents will get careless. Sometimes people try to get fancy, go for a 4-0, and instead, like, actually lose the most important Pokemon in their matchup without realizing it, and then things go really, really downhill. But like I said, I know I've got Tapu Koko on the back. All I need to do is switch it back in, and Specs Thunderbolt will knock out the Celesteela in electric terrain. You know, obviously, Celesteela is sitting at like under 50%, so don't have to worry too much about that. So yeah, just gotta wait to switch in my Koko now. Looks like my opponent might have disconnected there, or maybe just the Wi-Fi going out. But yeah, that was a game that we had pretty much locked up. You know, the nice thing is disconnections now do count for wins. I remember back in the older generation in 5th gen, like, if you DC'd, you didn't get any points from it. So Wi-Fi tournaments especially were particularly frustrating, but we do pick up a win in the first game. And I'm pretty happy about that. It was pretty clean. No RNG really at all. First turn was pretty much what decided the game right from the start. Like, Smeargle is something that gives any team trouble because you never know what set it's carrying and what moves it has, but because I was able to get rid of it before it could, you know, threaten me at all, didn't have to really worry about it. So yeah, that was a really, really big turn one. Probably not the turn one my opponent was expecting at all. And the fake out onto the Koko slot made sense because, you know, Koko could have been going for a Dazzling Gleam, so if you're trying to switch into your Garchomp, then yeah, you might want to cover the Dazzling Gleam option. But yeah, works out perfectly there. We're just going to look for the next game now. Taking forever to switch the song there too, but yeah, we've been hovering like the mid 1700s. Hopefully we can push a little bit more, and then we'll switch to a new team. But I've really been enjoying playing with this team. It's very different from the last couple of teams I've used, a little bit more similar to the San Jose offensive team, as I mentioned multiple times. But I think Snorlax is definitely a very intriguing Pokemon, one that's, you know, not used too much, as I mentioned, but Marcus Thatcher was obviously able to make it work, winning DreamHack over in Germany with it, which was really cool. And some other players have been using it as well. So, yeah, we're just going to keep looking for a game. Excuse me. Sometimes the matchmaking system does take a while. And we do actually find someone. The Sax Lad. It's a name I definitely recognize. Good player over in Europe, so this should be exciting. He's rocking a really cool team of Raichu, Koko, Arcanine, Alola, Ninetales, Celesteela, and Snorlax. So we both have Snorlax, which is always scary. And I've definitely gotten stomped by opposing Snorlaxes before, so that's something I'm a little bit worried about. My Snorlax might actually be really good here. Scarf Chomp's also really good, but it has to avoid the fake out turn 1 from the Raichu. Because they're basically a bunch of leads, and I feel like my opponent might know my team and might know that I'm Scarf Chomp. If, you know, he didn't, then I would probably lead Garchomp here, but I'm a little bit worried about that. So, let's see. I really like my own Koko and Nihilego, because that just puts on a lot of pressure. Arcanine's not bad here either, honestly. Like, I want to bring Gyarados specifically against his Arcanine and his Snorlax, but I think I might have to bring my own Arcanine here in this matchup. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm going to lead Nihilego. Maybe Nihilego Chomp still isn't that bad, but I want Koko, because we could see the Ninetales lead. I think I'm going to go Garchomp here. The only issue is if I do bring Garchomp... Ugh, I really want to bring my own Snorlax here. But Arcanine's so good, too. I'm running out of time. This is bad. This is super tricky. I'm going to go Garchomp and Arcanine. But this is a very scary team composition to go up against. I don't like my matchup too much here. You know, his team is obviously pretty aggro offensive as well. And so I think a lot of it will come down to this lead matchup. But I do want Scarf Chomp because Earthquakes really do a lot of damage to his team. The only issue is I didn't bring Gyarados, so Earthquaking is going to be kind of hard here. I'm going to have to basically protect an Earthquake, but we'll see. So we do see the Koko Raichu lead. Okay. That's what I thought would come out. And wow, shiny Alolan Raichu is so... that is not the color I thought it was. Pretty interesting. Okay, so I go with my Koko and my Nihilego. Let's see. My Electric Surge goes off first, so it's probably Modest then, which is interesting. Okay. So, like, you've obviously got to be worried about Nihilego right now. Raichu does have fake out pressure. I could get doubled up on Nihilego, or he could fake out my Koko. The safest place to fake out Nihilego. I think I want a Dazzling Gleam with Koko here for sure. I might just attack turn 1, honestly. Yeah, I'm gonna just Sludge Bomb and Dazzling Gleam. Because I really don't want to get, like, red super hard. He does go for Fake Out, which is good. On to Nihilego. Okay, so making the relatively obvious play, but the safest play. So I'm gonna get a Dazzling Gleam off. Nihilego might be doubled up into here. Raichu takes a ton. He actually just Dazzling Gleams himself. Okay, so net positive turn, I would say. Nihilego doesn't take too much. So I could have protected there, but ultimately it wasn't like a Thunderbolt into that slot, which was good. This is still tricky, though. This Raichu could go for an attack onto Koko, and Nihilego could target, or his Koko could target my Nihilego. I think I'm going to go for the knockout here onto Raichu. And if Koko survives, then I would just get this Dazzling Gleam off anyway. Maybe I should have Power Gem there. Ooh. There's a Z move, though. Oh, and it's actually the Psychic Z move, I believe. Is that it? This could be bad. I might lose both of my Pokemon this turn. I didn't consider that. Yikes. Shattered Psyche coming out. Does it target Nihilego, though? What is that? Is that Nihilego? Oh, yeah, it is. So Nihilego's gonna faint. I don't know whether we speed tie here with Koko still. I think his is just slower then, because I got the Electric Terrain up and got first every time. His Koko hangs on with just a sliver of HP. I think if I picked up that knockout, I would have been in a really good position. I think his Gleam probably knocks me out here. Yeah. So this is bad because I have Scarf Chomp and I'm going to be locked into an attack. But I do have Arcanine with extreme speed pressure, so it really comes down to what comes in from my opponent's end right now. It could be Ninetales, and I'm scared of that. Snorlax. Okay. I think I'll take that. Because I get the Intimidate off here. I do have the Fire Z move as well. And I'm Scarf Chomp. So the question is, who is the last Pokemon in the back? Ninetales is obviously what I'm most concerned about. It could be Arcanine as well. I obviously don't want to lock myself in an Earthquake. Yeah, this is where being Scarf Chomp is a predicament. I'm going to Z-move this turn into Snorlax, and I think I might have to Poison Jab. Because if I Dragon Claw, I can't touch Ninetales. If it is Ninetales. Yeah, this is a position you don't want to be in when you're Scarf Chomp. And I should have considered Psychic Z-move there. Pretty interesting to see. I think, yeah, the team did have Tapu Lele, if I remember correctly, so yeah, that makes sense. He stays in with both, though, doesn't go out for a switch out, which is pretty ideal, because Koko will faint, no Intimidate option coming in, and I get the Fire Z move off against Snorlax, so I don't know, if you had Arcanine, I would have think you would have brought it in there just to get the Intimidate off immediately. The Celesteal is also an option for the last one. If that's the case, that's really good news for me. And I'm going to go for the Z move here. I don't want to Flare Blitz because I will take Recoil, and he could have high horsepower / probably does have high horsepower. The issue is I'm not doing very much damage right now with Garchomp at all, but I had to lock myself into Poison Jab. If I had Rock Slide, I probably would have gone for that, but I'm not running Rock Slide. Wow, he took so much damage there, but he hangs on with the Sliver. Just goes for a return, okay. Onto Garchomp. So he's going to take Recoil from Rough Skin as well. That might be in Flare Blitz KO range. Well, it all comes down to what the last one is. Show me Celesteela. Or Ninetales, actually. Just not Arcanine. Oh, nice. That's very good. That's very good. Good Wild Charge. I think Wild Charge might do more here with the terrain. I'm actually not sure. Yeah, I think it does. Oh, no. Flare Blitz is stab, though. Okay, so he's intimidated with Snorlax, so he could recycle, though. I think the best option is to double up on Lax. The Celesteela can't knock me out anyway. And if I were him, I would probably protect Celesteela and try to get a recycle off with Snorlax. No switch outs, okay. Or protects, but that's fine. Unless this is like a super offensive Celesteela and it knocks out my Arcanine. We should be good. So Snorlax is going to go down. Chomp is absolutely useless right now. My opponent must know that. Unless it's like... Oh, good. It's just Heavy Slam. Perfect. Onto Arcanine, which takes that decently well. Nice. Great. Great, 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 great. So now it's just the matter of Flare Blitzing, and that should knock out Celesteela since I am max attack. If not, that could be very scary actually from Recoil. But I had to go for that play, yeah, because if... It all comes down to whether Celesteela really can survive this Flare Blitz or not. I don't think it can. I'm pretty sure, unless it's like max HP at max defense. And Heavy Slam did a decent amount of damage. We don't see a Protect come out, so... yep, I'm just going to get the Flare Blitz off. Coming out from max attack Arcanine, can it finish up the deal against the Celesteela? It will be able to. Excellent. Oh, that was a very intense game. It was a relatively quick one, as, yeah, Arcanine would not have been able to survive a Heavy Slam there, so if that Celesteela were somehow, like, max HP, max defense, bold, I don't know if that even survives the Flare Blitz. I would think probably, but, like, Celesteela is bulky, but Arcanine's still really strong, especially with Flare Blitz, so that was a really scary game, but getting that Z move off against the Snorlax was huge. My opponent not bringing Arcanine also really beneficial for me. And of course, you know, it's kind of hard to bring Arcanine when my team has Pokemon like Garchomp and Gyarados and whatnot. So it was very helpful in the end. And if it were Alolan Ninetales in the back, I think I also would have had the game locked up because I had Poison Jab Extreme Speed Pressure, so I could just double up onto that slot. It was really nice to see the Celesteela Poison Jab onto the Koko worked out perfectly. And I think the other big thing is that Snorlax didn't go for a Protect, so it didn't waste the potential Z move. Not sure whether it had Protect or not, but the whole point is that because it didn't, I was able to get that Z move off, do so much damage to it, and then put it in KO range the next turn. So, fortunately, using Poison Jab with Garchomp ended up being the correct call. Obviously, if I locked myself in an Earthquake, that would have been really bad, since I would knock out my own Arcanine, so had to consider what was potentially in the back. Poison Jab made the most sense, and, you know, if it were Ninetales, then Poison Jab's great. If it were Arcanine, I'm kind of in some trouble. I think if my opponent had Arcanine in the back, that would have been a tougher game to win. Of course, his Arcanine can't do too much damage to mine or my Garchomp, especially if he's like a bulkier variant, but with Will-O-Wisp, I mean, things can get kind of dicey. So, we end up pulling up with 2 wins in today's episode. First one being a little bit quicker. They're both relatively fast games, but that second one definitely felt really intense. Whereas the first one felt like I had control basically from the start. So that's going to be it for this game, or this episode, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. As always, please leave a like if you did, and I'll see you guys next time. Alright, peace.